G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. We are live at the moment going to you talking captains, the big boys. We're talking all the carnage coming from round 18 teams last night. A lot of injuries to get through, answering your questions. Let's go!
Just done it from nowhere. Pointed the goal from inside the 10. Shade from the boundary. Dusty. Gabriel Kenny. Petrarca. Oh, wow. How good is that? The legend becomes immortal.
G'day and welcome again to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Casey, and you can find me on Twitter at Ball Boys Fantasy. And I'm joined as always by coach of the Mighty Oxlongs, Luke Rogerson. Mate, how are you on this fine Friday Arvo?
Fuck this shit.
Yes.
Woo! What are we?
Carnage round.
What is happening? Like
This is the plague of AFL fantasy.
I thought I was having a bad night last night, and then there's just been more bullets fired today.
Mate.
It's chaotic, but this is the kind of round that really could sort things out. Bit of movement and shaking.
It's the kind of round where it'll create a lot of movement, but a lot of the times it does just fall down to a lot of luck. Like you could be on the right side of it, you could be on the wrong side of it. I think a lot of us are going to be on the wrong side of it. I think I saw a tweet from today, the great man, Matty Mottrams. He's copped a few this week. So great coaches out there are going to get hit with these bullets as well. So we all just got to try take, solace in the fact that we're all in it together.
This guy's the Cheshire Cat. He's been dodging bullets like the Matrix. You should have seen the text I got when Tom Green was out this afternoon. Mitch, I could see the smile through the phone.
No. I was not smiling.
Last night was fucked up for me, but when you trade in a guy and he has his lowest score of the season, it just...
So who did you trade in last night?
Caleb Daniel was my trade in. Now, look, this is what pissed me off most about the whole thing is... From the minute that lockout lifted at the end of last week, I knew exactly what I was doing. Darcy Cameron was out. It was going to be DPP. Sicily was going to come in back there. And I was just going to Sheldrick down to Cooper Harvey, and it was just going to be all apples.
Done.
And then
Easy.
as the week went, it just got progressively more fucked. And then when Sarong got suspended, to get Sarong to steal didn't give me enough cash to get to Sicily. So I ended up going to Daniel with the DPP for next week in mind. But you trade a guy in and he...
67 or whatever it was. Yeah, just shit.
I wasn't alone. I think the great Mini Monk as well did that same move.
Look, and I'll stand by it. I'll support you here because I think the move had a lot of, there was a lot of logic to it.
I thought you were going to say merit again.
I
could see the cogs turning.
But there was a lot of logic behind the move. I think, he's been putting up some good scores. He was in the role that he's been in to put up those scores as well. But... sometimes shit just doesn't go your way, and it could be one of those rounds. So let's should we start with the carnage and all the players out?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk through it.
So obviously Thursday night teams dropped last night. Some of this carnage we already knew, but we've got Hayden Young out with his foot/ankle in a moon boot. So he looks like I think his quote was that he should be back by the last few weeks of the season, I think is what he said, which doesn't sound promising. Tom Green revealed today, he's the most latest one with the hamstring. The reports I've seen around are sort of 2 to 3 weeks. Darcy Cameron with a hip injury of some kind.
Escorted off in the golf buggy, you were telling me as well.
In the golf cart.
That's got to be bad.
And it was theatre. I don't know if you were watching it. I was just checking Twitter live like I do, the low life that I am. And I was watching this happen live. He's at training. He's there. He's good. He's doing the warm-ups. And then 20 minutes later, he's off in a golf cart. He's down. He's down.
That's like hip replacement kind of stuff if you have to be escorted off in a golf cart.
Must be pretty bad. Obviously, Jake Lloyd, whose team played last night, was out concussed for the week. Sheldrick, whose team played last night, has the ankle. I think he's going to be out for a little while as well. To top it off as well, Tom Mitchell just randomly managed. Caleb Sarong suspended for the week. And if
they challenged as well. Freo challenged.
Lost.
They were trying to help us out.
And we've got rumours, Luke.
What are the rumours?
There's rumours. Doubt on Sicily. Doubt on Will Day. With
everyone
a shoulder sort
everyone
of thing.
at Adelaide's sick, apparently.
There's COVID about. We're going back to 2022 with COVID.
Sometimes when these kind of things happen, like the little dirty part of me just thinks, how fucked can this get? You know what I mean? I want to see this thing just get proper fucked up.
Really just go off the rails.
Let's just see what can happen. How bad can we make it?
Because you've only got 2 trades. Like you can only trade out 2 injured players.
Well,
the rest you've just got to set your emergencies and cross your fingers.
The thing that's just dawned on me too is those people who didn't find out about the Tom Green bullet until today could potentially have locked in their Sheldrick trade from last night as their downgrade.
Yep.
And
I know Ellie's done that last night, traded out Sheldrick.
And now sitting there, and you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to have to play one of those rookies on the field.
You're going to have to put an emergency on. So, it's the timing kind of sucks. So if we knew the Tom Green thing last night, you would have, especially if Sheldrick was on your bench, you'd just hold him. You'd get rid of the 2 guys on your field and they're gone. So
what? Matt in the comments just called me a sicko. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's probably a bit of a sick part of me there. But
sometimes you just sit back and enjoy the carnage when you're already competent. So
we've been a bit self-indulgent too. Talk to us about the little bit of merch that we got going there.
Oh, you noticed that? Oh,
yeah,
I thought we were going to play it cool and just sort of fly that under the radar.
Nothing about this podcast is play it cool, mate. There's nothing about.
Just testing out a little bit of creativity,
self-indulgent, and spent about I've touched the wrong. Spent about $100 just fucking so we could have some cool shirts to wear.
Our own logo on a shirt and just bought some merch. But,
Can you imagine?
Let us know what you guys think. I don't know. We've just bought the 2 shirts just for us at the moment. They're not for sale or anything. I can let us know what you think.
I can only imagine what the poor person who put this through the printer at the shirt factory said. What the fuck is this guy doing? Rory Laird wearing glasses.
Boys,
what's going on?
Here? That was no. So let us know if you like the t-shirts.
I wouldn't mind if a few people are keen for us to do another shirt, and we'll get whatever you guys want on a shirt, and we'll wear it on the pod. So think of some fucked up stuff that we could get around in.
Hold on. No, let's go a little bit PG rated. Okay, so I guess the question is, with all these players out, which I think a lot of people will be in this boat, what are the priorities? Like, who are we trading out if you've got multiple of these guys, and who are the guys that you're going to have to maybe just suck it up and hold them? So I think the easiest ones are Sarong and Mitchell. Yep. If you've got them and multiple other guys, they're the 2 that you're holding.
You're prioritising based on the weeks.
Yeah, because they're only away for 1 week. They're not injured.
Yep.
Okay, there's no uncertainty. At least with Tom Mitchell, fingers crossed, it is actually managed. So I think those 2 you're holding. Obviously, Lloyd and Sheldrick, you've made the decision already.
Yep.
What if you had like Darcy Cameron, a Tom Green, Hayden Young situation, and you had those 3 players? Like, who are we trading first out of Tom Green, Darcy Cameron, and Hayden Young, and who's the last one out of that group?
For me, part of the decision is going to be based on like what you're going to do with that trade. But if we're talking about purely how long they're going to be out for, I think the early sort of news is that Darcy Cameron is maybe just like a week, maybe a couple. But then
I was doing a bit of search before the start of recording. But if anyone in the comments can actually tell me what the fuck his actual injury is, I think all I've been able to dig up so far is that it's a hip injury. But what is it? Like, has he fractured his hip? Like,
I'm telling you, replacement.
Like, what is it? Like, what has he actually got? Has he got a corky? Like, what is it? Something that he's going to be back next week? Because that changes the decision in this case. So
I'm telling you, if you need to be taken off in a golf cart, that's euthanasia type
good.
stuff. That's
it can't be good.
We need to take you out the back. That's terrible.
Yeah. So the way I would sort of prioritize it right now is I would be trying to just trade him out based on how much, like, pre-trades, Darcy Cameron, like these guys, the glass half full in me says that all 3 of these guys were probably guys that you're okay to trade anyway. So Darcy Cameron, before the injury, we were trying to trade.
God, you're an optimist, mate.
I traded him a couple of weeks ago because I was sick of looking at his face in my team. And Tom Green was sort of underwhelming as well. So I'd probably still be trading them out in that priority. So with Hayden Young being top priority, I think he's out for the longest as well. Darcy Cameron's probably the next, and Tom Green's the 3rd. But if I get some more concrete evidence that Darcy Cameron is, maybe a 1 weeker, then maybe you go
cork tip swipe in the comments, reckon. So
cork tip. If it's a cork tip, maybe then you do trade Green ahead of him, because if Green's away for at least a couple of weeks,
cash on his head too.
Cash on his head. Yeah, you probably get into someone better.
You're trading Green, I think.
Yeah. So
in that situation,
if we can get some confirmation that it is just a corky, then you're probably trading Green ahead of Cameron and just hoping he's back next week. But it could also be, check your loops and things like that. Like if you've got like a better loop in your forward line versus a loop in your midfield, maybe that makes the decision for you. So we're going to have to get creative. Make sure you guys have some emergencies as well, because if Sicily Day thing comes out and it
There's-
is actually legit, then just make sure you've got emergencies.
I
in
know
your-
that's
in your-
that's
in
all
your
speculation and
reserve.
rumor at this point. But if any of those, let's say it's a Sicily, it's a Day, let's say it's Adelaide boys, then everyone's genuinely fucked.
Oh, there's no one's going to escape that.
There's still a scenario where there's people who may have been able to dodge all of these bullets, but if those guys come out as well, there's no relevant teams that are dodging all of those bullets.
And a lot of us, like I said, if you've made your trades already, like I traded out Sheldrick last night.
Yeah.
I finally traded in Errol Goulden, by the way, everyone. You can all, thank you.
Well done, mate.
Let's
well
go.
done. You got
How
on
fun
just
is
in
it?
time.
So my trades are done.
You're locked in.
I'm locked out. I've
Yep.
got no trades left. So if anything else comes up, I'm going to get hit. If the VCs are done, so it's kick
felt
your feet up
nice.
at this
Felt
point,
nice to put some VCs on last night. Hey, if you had English or Bont, very happy, and even if you had Goulden, you're still pretty happy.
Yeah.
With that.
So I think a lot of trades will be done with people trading out players who players who are trading out with an injury. So
Yep.
downgrade targets, probably not
Talk
too much
targets.
relevant talking about these guys, but if you are in the luxurious position where you are going down to a trade target, I think the two guys you're looking at are Cooper Harvey and Sam Banks. I'd probably go Harvey first,
Yep.
just because he's at North Melbourne, lower break even, and Sam Banks, you could have a go. He's a bit cheaper, has West Coast, but after that, it's like, who cares? I think it's one of those two at this point. So I
Now,
won't spend too much time on those boys.
they're kind of I suppose, your typical downgrade targets if you're going down to basement. But there's going to be people out there now who are looking for downgrade targets, but that fall in that category of cheaper premiums as well. So let's talk about a few of those guys potentially. So if you've copped the Sarong bullet this week, if you've copped the now Tom Green bullet, where are you looking to go in the midfield potentially?
My favourite option this week is Jack Steele. So if you can go from some one of those guys
God, we have short memories.
down to Jack Steele, we do.
I agree.
We've got to forgive. We've got to
I
forgive.
agree. I'm just
it's
playing
funny.
devil's
It
advocate.
is
but-
funny that a few weeks ago we were trade him out now. Let's get him back in. But
Yeah.
there's a reason. Obviously, everyone jumped on him, after his bye in the first place because he is the man of steel. He's the guy who's averaged near the most amount of points in fantasy for an entire season. So, I think he's the number one option for me. I feel like he's been moving quite well the last few weeks anyway.
Last week, definitely. Tackles up, marks up, I think.
He kicked a goal. So, look, temper your expectation in terms of scoring, but he should be a 105 plus guy, in my opinion. So, I think he's the number one option for me if you can make that work. I do also like LDU with the asterisk that this week could be tough with the tag coming from potentially either a Finn McGuinness or who's that other fella in Hawthorn that did a bit of a tagging role in Tom Green last week?
No idea. So this is sort of where I was looking to go prior to what McGuinness did to Kelly last week, was going to LDU, and that would have got me up to Sicily as well. But tagged him to 30. Josh Kelly.
30, yeah. And it's Josh Kelly. It's not like it was someone...
No, and that's...
Connor Nash was the guy I was thinking about. He put a bit of a tag on Tom Green last week as he was a bit more inside mid at the CBAs. So he might be someone that goes to an LDU, and obviously Tom Green went sub 70 last week. So
so obviously, Steele, LDU maybe is a next week guy if you're still in a position where you need to make a trade like that.
Yeah.
Talk to me about Took Miller, because midweek the caretaker coach has come out and said we like what we're seeing from him in terms of game time. He's stepping up.
Yep.
Is he a guy that now, given that they basically greenlit him to play midfield and play his normal role, is he a guy that you could jump into?
You could. I think you could. It's a ballsy move, but it is something that you could do.
A big ballsy move. Let's go.
Yeah, big balls. But he's 844k. He's actually not that cheap.
Yeah.
Compared to the risk that you're taking on. When you can get someone like a Steele who's cheaper by 40k, you can get an LDU who's cheaper by nearly 200,000. The risk is mitigated a bit more by their price because of something you can do on the other side.
Yep.
So if you're going like a Sarong down to him, and then you've got a Darcy Cameron to fix up, it doesn't really actually get you very far. It probably only gets you to a Keys or something like that, which doesn't fill me with too much inspiration. Yep. Whereas if you can go down to a Steele and get a Sicily instead, I'd rather go further down and get the other better upgrade.
So what if you have Steele already? There'll be people out there that have Steele already. Are you going to LDU despite the tag, just because there's sort of a lack of other options?
It's so hard. I think... Look, there's still 7 weeks left. North Melbourne have a great run. I think
They do have a great run, don't they?
yeah. So I still don't mind the play, and just cross your fingers that this week the tag either isn't there or he's able to fight through it and put up a decent score anyway. Because I still think that he's a really great player. 733k, break even of 76.
Yeah.
Hawthorn's a good matchup, but after that he's also got St Kilda and then West Coast, 2 games after that. So he's coming into a really good run of form.
Richmond, Gold Coast.
Yeah, so it could be a really nice play for the price he's at.
Yeah.
We've seen what he's done in the past in the back half of season, so I still like it. It does make me nervous this week because I would put money on the fact that someone's going to go to him because he's the only one in their team really worth tagging.
Sheasel?
Maybe Sheasel. But they tagged 2 people last time. So, maybe Finn McGuinness goes to Sheasel and Old Mate goes to LDU. So
Yeah, okay.
I still prefer if you can get the trade done and get a steal, that would be the way I'd go. And I would sacrifice, and I think we were talking about this yesterday, like say if you were dead set on going Sicily and you have to go to LDU to get Sicily, or if you had to go with steal and go with like a Luke Ryan or a Liam Duggan, I'd rather go the steal Ryan Duggan option than force an LDU Sicily because I think there's flags on both of those players. So I think I'd probably go the steal option in that scenario if that's what people are tossing up between.
And it's not a stretch there if you've traded in a guy that's a bit of a compromise like a Luke Ryan or a Duggan. It's not a stretch to think of a scenario where either next week or in the next couple of weeks you could just jump up to Sicily. You might have missed some points, but you don't want to, like you said, fully compromise your team by going so far down in the midfield as well. I get that.
Some other really good option, like we've sort of talked about. I actually really like Luke Ryan this week. I think Hayden Young being out helps him. I think you mentioned that one of the key defenders
I think Alex
held.
Pearce was under like some sort of question mark earlier in the week in a moon boot, but then was named,
He's named.
and I'm pretty sure they've come out and said that their travelling side is healthy and ready to play. So I was a bit concerned at that, and then the reason I went Daniel in the end was with the DPP thing, looking towards next week.
So Brennan Cox, Hayden Young are both out. So the kick-ins are all his. Like they're all his right now. Up against Collingwood, who, decent matchup. They've chosen to rest and, have got a few injuries out as well. So I think that the game should be pretty friendly for Freo players in that regard. So
Freo brought in a replacement tool as well. I'm pretty sure Hamling. Is it Hamling?
Is he a tall?
Yeah, he's a
defender?
replacement key position defender. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he is. And so that sort of fills me with a little bit more confidence.
So I actually really like the Luke Ryan. If you're going to go a little bit against the grain in terms of a Sicily, I think that Luke Ryan's a really good, unique play, and he's shown the ceiling. And
why didn't you tell me that last night, mate?
Don't tell me that. Do not give me that.
Where's your proof, mate? Where's your proof?
Hold on. Check the run sheet. Noah Anderson. We talked, I tweeted out the big boys. I think he's in for a big week. Last time he played the Saints, he went 159.
Woofed.
Coach was sacked. He's got a bit to play for, a bit to prove. Players always step up after, the coach has been fired. So it's at the Gold Coast.
Surely
I think he's a good, unique player as well.
Caretaker coach just says, go about your business.
Hell yeah.
Just release the shackles. Yeah. Go get it, is what I'd be saying.
David
to him.
Swallow, get out of the midfield.
Yeah.
Just like, let's get
Noah, go
Noah,
help out the
Matty
old songs
Rao.
in Mitchman.
Yep.
I reckon that's what he'll say.
And then the other player we haven't talked about there is Liam Duggan. I've moved Liam Duggan down. I was higher on him earlier in the week, but the return of Shannon Hearn just kind of dents my confidence a little bit in terms of his floor, with those kick-ins going a bit more towards him and Witherden. So at this stage, I'm Luke Ryan over Liam Duggan in terms of trade-in targets for those defenders if you can't get to Sicily. But I still think Sicily could be a good option. There are just a few flags with Sicily because... I forgot to mention this on the other podcast as well. Stewart was tagged against North Melbourne last week. So
not for the last 10 minutes of the last quarter.
Not for the last... They gave up the tag and he racked up 40 points in 10 minutes, or even less than that, I think. But so he had to do that to get to his 111. So Sicily coming up against North Melbourne isn't guaranteed to be a slam dunk pick, which we kind of assume it is for more your midfielders. But for defenders, it's not as good of a matchup. So little flag there, but I still think he'll be obviously really good.
If you can go right up to the top in terms of Uber premiums, who are we looking at?
Right at the top, I think that James Sicily is probably the best option just because of his uniqueness and not only this week, but his run afterwards. His break even is low. So with the flag there, I still think he's a great option. I like Sam Doherty because next week he has the Eagles matchup.
Yep.
But I also really like Darcy Parish. So depending on if you're looking for a defender or a mid, I like those guys as sort of a good play for the players right up the top if you're trying to get in those 900k plus guys. So, yeah.
Now, before we talk some big boys, I noticed on the run sheet you want to be a little self-indulgent and talk about Mitchman. Do you want to just let everyone know how the mighty Mitchman are going?
I'm more just tracking this for my own, self-interest.
Oh, sorry, this wasn't meant to be brought up.
Oh, no. I put it on there. I just completely forgot to
what an accident.
We went straight into the carnage. But I'm just tracking my chase to the hat. So I'm ranked 350th at the moment.
Yep.
Anyone who gives a rat's ass. And I'm 243 points away from the 100th place position at the start of this round. I think with a few uniques playing at this first game, I've moved up a little bit, but some poor scores in there. I'm not sure if I'll stay that high. But, so 243 points, about 35 points per round.
Mate, if you keep dodging bullets, you'll be there in no time, I reckon.
Touch wood, huh? I reckon there's still plenty of time for luck to swing the other way.
I heard something throughout the week. I think it might have been on the Traders podcast. Something about somebody who moved off Taranto at the buys and was ranked.
Selby talked about this one.
Was it Selby? Was it? So, and went from like 4,000 to just outside the top 100 in.
I think it was like 300-400 or something like that. Yeah.
What?
Went off the most popular player in the game and just went straight up.
I mean, it's one of those ones where if it comes off, you look like an absolute genius, but if it doesn't, you look like.
And I imagine they might be trying to look to get him in this round, but with the carnage, maybe it might be.
That's crazy because I just thought, from where I was ranked, don't worry about hat, but this person's proven that with a spicy move like that, you can move and shake.
Sometimes if you got some big balls, you can make some serious gains if the luck goes your way, and obviously it has for that person.
Yeah.
But let's talk some big boys moving forward, and obviously. We've got some good options this round. The big boys. Now,
let's go.
We've already had a few really good options, and my number one VC option for this round was Tim English, he sat at number 2. So tweeted that out yesterday. Hopefully a lot of you jumped on him if you had him, because a 140. Are you taking that? Are you going to take that score?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might too.
After much consideration,
chase this time. I will take the 140 from Tim English. But don't fret if you didn't have Tim English or the Bonds last night, who I probably should have had a little bit higher, but we'll skip over that. Then you can still get some really good captains this week, because I think there are really good options. Tim Taranto I still have at number 1. I mean, Elijah Hewitt's out, so the tagger is gone. So maybe they run with a Jinby or something like that, but I don't think it matters. Tim Taranto against West Coast. What's there been? Like 30, 120 plus scores against West Coast this year. So
yeah, he's out of form, but mate.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's West Coast, and I think he'll go big there. Andrew Brayshaw, I like as I don't know if I've seen too many people talk about him this week as a captain option against Collingwood with no Caleb Sarong. I just think that this is prime for him. The only slight flag on this one here, which I had a look at today, is the weather.
Yep.
Might be a little bit of wet weather in Melbourne on Saturday when they play tomorrow. So if it is a little wet, then potentially he might move down a little bit on the board again, but it's hard to sort of tell how wet it will be. Jordan Dawson at 4 versus GWS, just solely based on form. And then at number 5, my smoky here, Noah Anderson against St Kilda, like I mentioned before, 159 in his last game against the Saints. Coach is gone, outside ball to be had. Could be a big one.
Just to be clear, you're taking Bont, you're taking English, but you'd still take Goulden, wouldn't you, if you had the VC, 125, something like that.
I told you the other day that my line has now moved to 120. At the start of the year, it was 110, and particularly for this round, it was 120.
Yeah.
Goulden, I'd still probably
Did you say Hewitt was out before? I didn't hear that.
Elijah Hewitt? Let me double check.
Maybe he's on an extended bench.
I'm getting my names mixed up.
I need all the rookies I can get with this carnage.
No, I'm confusing him with someone else. Because I know, Hewitt, not Hewitt. Sorry, Xavier O'Neill.
Sean's just corrected you in the
who I meant to say.
Thank you, Sean. Much appreciated.
Sorry, guys. Yes, so Xavier O'Neill, the tagger, not Hewitt, who doesn't tag.
No, I was
So Xavier
thinking
O'Neill is out, which
you're
is good
just
for Timmy T.
you're just bloody omitting my players willy-nilly. Don't
Chopping
bring-
blocks, coming to Friday.
Change the graphic up. Let's go. Any more big boys, mate? Everyone's big boys are sorted, aren't they? Surely everyone's big boys are sorted.
Nick Dacos, we should maybe have a discussion about, because he's obviously, everyone has Nick Dacos against Freo, could be a potential option. But again, that sort of wet weather game, I don't think suits him as much, so I feel like he's a little bit further down. But Tom Mitchell not being there does maybe potentially give him some more points, so he could be a potential option if you're looking for an alternative VC. If
you're scaring everyone in the comments too, mate. People are like, "Why is Mitch omitting my players?" And I need every bloody warm body I can get at the moment, and Mitch is just fucking giving everyone a heart attack.
Yeah,
Sorry,
well,
people. Sorry about it.
I hear Jordan Dawson's got COVID actually as well. So
You've fucking scared buddy Brendan. He's had to be escorted off in a golf buggy.
Oh no, everyone's out
He's
of golf
got a
buggies.
bloody heart attack.
Also, to anyone who said that we're going a bit harder than beers today, this is the only non-beer that we've got in the household. So this is all you're going to get.
Thanks,
no
folks.
shots. Some people were calling for shots today, but
Some people were calling for bloody bags. Bags out.
So we must give off loose vibes. It's your dirty moustache. And
Yeah, I was going to say, you give off real clean cut, cookie cutter kind of vibes, but I give off, 3 a.m. in the valley kind of vibes.
You give off Bailey Smith vibes over there, mate, with that mullet. All right. Have we got 2 minutes? 2 minutes till 5 o'clock teams. Hopefully there's no more.
Should we do some
bullets.
spicy takes then?
Yeah, let's do some spicy takes. All right. Got the graphic ready?
I do.
Feeling hot. Okay. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
So I'm going a bit of a negative take here today because I feel like I am pretty optimistic a lot of the times with these spicy takes. So I'm going to say that James Sicily goes sub 80 after everyone breaks their team to get him in this week.
Do you reckon there will be a heap of people that were going to trade in Sicily that now, given the Tom Green news, won't be able to?
I do think that he will not be as significantly targeted as he was at the start of this week, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I think at the start of the week, he was probably going to be 50% by the end of this round in the top 1,000, whereas I think he might be closer to sort of 20% now.
Yeah, selfishly, I hope you're right with that one, but I've just got this feeling he's going to be a must-have and he's going to be going 120 plus.
So don't get me wrong, I'll be scrambling to get him into my team next week because next week is the game where he comes up against Richmond and then has St Kilda the week after. So I'm happy to sit out this week personally, but I'd still, even if he does go sub 80 and is a bit disappointing next week, I'll still be targeting for sure. So, but yeah, there's a bit of a spicy take just because everyone seems to be clamoring to get the sick dog in their team.
That will be spicy. Now, I'm going for a little bit of a blast from the past. I say, so it's Gold Coast St Kilda this week, am I right?
Yes.
So
they're facing each other, yeah.
I'm going to say that Jack Steele and the Tuk Tuk come out and they both go 130 plus and they just say, "Let's go, baby, I'm back." They roll
They just cuddle each other the whole game.
They roll it back to, what was it,
2021.
2021, and they just say, "Let's go, boys.
They're on.
We're
Yeah,
on." That's
100%.
my spicy take. So I'll be watching that game,
I think,
with intrigue.
Very, very much intrigued. Hopefully, replace Took Miller and put Noah Anderson in there, and and we'll all be very happy. So,
Absolutely.
all right, let's have a look at these 5 o'clock teams.
Extended
and see if they've been updated. We have.
I got a little swipe,
little
sound there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, and looking here, Laird, Dawson, both omitted with COVID.
Oh, Jesus.
Fuck.
Stop scaring everyone, Luke.
That's
All
heavy.
right.
That's real heavy.
So Seamus Mitchell is managed. James Sicily is confirmed in on that squad there. Denver Granger Barras is out. Harry Morrison is out. James Blank is out. This is the other couple of concerning things for the Sicily thing. So Denver Granger Barras and James Blank, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're both two key defenders. Maybe Denver's been playing a bit in the forward line. I could be wrong, but I know Blank has been a bit of a key defender. So potentially Sicily has a bit of a defensive role to play. Just a little flag there.
Yeah, I don't know about that
for North Melbourne, Lazaro's omitted. Perez injured. Griffin Logue is injured. Hugh Greenwood has been omitted. Jack Zeeble has been subbed, kicked off again.
Yeah.
And Jai Simpkin is obviously injured as well. Okay, so our boy there, who was the rookie, he's obviously held his spot. Cooper Harvey is in there.
Yep.
For West Coast and Richmond, so just the two games on Sunday as well. Ryan Marich, unfortunately, has been omitted. Andrew Gaff has been omitted. Rhett Bazzo omitted. Xavier O'Meal
What?
has been omitted as well. What
Why
you
are
gonna say?
West Coast omitting Marriage?
Yeah, that's a curious one.
West Coast fans, give us some insight there, because I thought that they might persist with him. He played really well a couple of weeks
Might as
ago,
well
and I
throw
didn't think he
the-
was too
the
bad.
kids in there and give him a shot.
Yeah. Well, there's just
After
another.
his best game, I think. Yeah.
There's another warm body I don't have.
So, and then for Richmond, it's obviously our unlucky Bauer, who did his hammy 3 minutes into the game. He's out injured. Nank out suspended, and Soldo coming in. So not much action over on Richmond there as well. So I guess slightly okay if you're relying on a Ryan Marich emergency. That kind of sucks. And obviously the Jacks Evil news obviously is out again. Potentially good for Sheasel owners who are forced to hold
That's
after all the...
that's what they said last week.
I know, right? I wonder if he's the sub again. You'd have to think he is.
Yeah.
Greenwood, Howe, Zeeble, Lazaro. Maybe Greenwood could be the sub,
Yeah, potentially.
potentially.
Hey, Bales is on. Hey, mate.
What the hell is going on this week, Bales, mate? I know. The fantasy gods, they're not very happy with us all, so
no
they're
good.
taking it out on us. So
Now, given
Sunday team's somewhat friendly to us at this stage. So
the absolute unprecedented carnage, should we spend the majority of the rest of our time
I
answering
reckon.
some questions?
Yeah, let's answer a bunch of questions. So, guys, make sure you drop your questions in the comments below over on YouTube and let us know what you're doing with your trade targets, what your spice takes are, all the above. So we'll scroll up and take a few now.
Yeah, even if you had a question from before, try and drop it in at the bottom of the comments, because we're going to sort of work our way down there. Oh, actually, this first comment here is a couple of people getting out to see the Traders tonight over in Perth.
Yeah.
From where we'd rather be, I think.
Yeah,
I think-
I'd love to be over at Perth and
Yeah.
catching up with the boys there.
I think
So,
they ended up doing a
should be-
double show, which is
Yeah,
pretty
one
cool.
last night and one tonight. First one's, I think the one tonight sold out in like an hour
Straight
or
up.
something like that.
Yeah,
So
man, we would love to be there as well. If
we'll be going off over there in Perth. So shout out to the boys or anyone who's catching up with the Traders tonight over in Perth.
yeah, enjoy yourselves. Have a beer for us.
Yes, or a few. What do we got here? Is the Bont the only guy that can trouble Dacos for the Brownlow? Well, what's your Brownlow tips? Who's you got for the Brownlow?
The Brownlow show now. I'd love to see Dacos win it. That's probably more of a want. But if I was a betting man, maybe the Bont.
I said the Bont at the start of the year. I'm going to stick with that. I reckon Dawson is a smoky. I reckon Dawson's going to be up there.
Oh, I think he'll be up there. I don't think he's going to win it.
You don't think he's going to win? He's
think
a
so.
bloody phenomenal
Should,
player.
should we answer some fantasy questions rather than
Oh, yeah,
talk
I
about Brownlow
suppose.
speculation? Who would you choose to field out of Hewitt and Chesser? Can't loop.
Shit, that's a tough one.
I'm going Hewitt. I think I've seen more.
You've seen more.
I
Hewitt?
just feel, I've seen more from Hewitt in terms of maybe even his role as well. Each time I've watched West Coast, I just feel like Hewitt might be in a slightly more friendly role. But again, that could be one of those ones where
This is a coin flip. Look,
week to week, you can
Hewitt
flip it.
had 14 CBA, so Chess' 0 last week. So that's got to be worth something.
Yeah.
I'd probably go Hewitt as well, just for the role.
Yeah.
I just checked the last week. It wasn't flipped the complete opposite. 16 CBAs the week before. So yeah, I think I'd probably definitely go Hewitt in that option there.
That's my
Should
thoughts
score
there.
Decent against Richmond.
Mitch Hinge for a 1 week play. He's been on a half decent run. I think his last sort of 3 weeks have been somewhere between like mid 80s and mid 90s, but I wouldn't feel super confident.
618,000 for Mitch Hinge.
Would be feeling super confident on that one.
I couldn't do
Sammy.
I couldn't do it. I'd rather chase like a Richmond player or something like that going up against like a West Coast and just chase the matchup.
Yeah, get a
Like
matchup.
like a Liam Baker for 550,000 with short out could potentially be a bit of a play.
Is Mitch Hinge a defender only?
He's mid
Defender.
Yeah.
You could even chase it. If it's 1 week, it could be Jared Lyons. A 1 week play on Lyons.
How much is it? Because you keep
Lion-
floating this idea
Lyons
out.
is like in the fight.
559K.
Do you know what I mean? He's cheaper than Hinge, and I
He
think
put up a 110, but it was against West Coast, so maybe he's like a 90 this week, which probably I would take over.
I just keep floating his name because I think he's your lookalike. But I've been wrong with lookalikes before. I'll acknowledge. Is anyone else? Just look straight down the barrel.
Who was the lookalike that someone said that you?
No,
Danaher,
you know his name.
Yes, my old mate Danaher.
I don't look like Joe. Look, I don't look like Joe Danaher, but look down the barrel, Mitch. Everyone will see that's Jared Lyons.
Jared
if
Lyons?
ever I've seen it.
Look,
I might do
it
some.
could be worse. I could be Joe Danaher, but anyway, it's Sicily, Ryan, or Nazire Wanganeen Miller are here for Hunter. Who are you going here?
Sicily.
I think I'm probably still going
I'm
Sicily.
still going Sicily. Yeah.
let me put it this way: if you're ranked right back, I might even go Luke Ryan over Sicily just because I think he's going to be the more unique play. So I think Nazai Wanganimira has been good. I'm happy to fade him, and I think he's sort of, I don't know, overperformed my expectations, but I could be wrong there. So he'd be a clear third for me. If you're up the top, maybe you go Sicily. If you're back a bit, have a bit of fun with Luke Ryan.
Mark Robertson here. How about Dylan Moore with his run coming up as an outside player? We know you love Dylan Moore, but we just know you don't love the role.
Yeah, the role, it's just tough to rely on. Look, he's got North, Richmond, Saints.
It is a good,
3 in a row.
Good little run.
So even as a forward, he could probably score pretty well. He's not cheap enough for me to take
how much
a punt on a player in that
he?
role. 714,000. So, like, yeah.
But if he was your ticket to, like, let's say he was your ticket to unlocking with your other trades, like let's say you take your Sarong or your Green down to him, and that's your ticket to getting up to the person you want in your other trade.
It's not the worst play.
Because you can fix it after a couple of weeks, can't you?
I would.
Or no?
I mean, not if you have more fucking rounds like this.
Yeah. Then we're all fucked.
I think that for most scenarios, I'd probably be advising against it. But if it's the best you could do and you're dead set on going something else with, that kind of price range potentially. But I don't know. I traded in Jack McRae and that's looked like a fucking stupid choice anyway. So what do I know?
Bales has commented twice. Are we getting on the Avance Soldo train? Choo choo. What do you reckon?
I've ignored your question just there because I've seen this comment that Mitch is a Nick Dacos that you buy off Wish. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult because Nick Dacos is a bloody good-looking bloke. So I'll take that. I'm gonna ride with that.
You're the Wish version of Nick Dacos. I don't see it.
I'm happy with that.
Who said that? I don't know about that.
Good old mate Brendan here. Thanks Brendan. I'll take that, mate. I'm gonna see that as a compliment,
Nick
not as the Wish. I'll ignore the Wish part.
I need to get me prescription up if that's the
Brownlow
case. That's
sorry,
ridiculous.
repeat that question to me. I was too busy.
Where was I? No, sorry. Bales is asking about Soldo train. Are we going Soldo or?
No.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
No.
I just Soldo to me.
So no Nank for 3 weeks. West Coast matchup this week.
You could take the sugar hit, but he's got Hawthorn next week, and we know as a matchup for rucks, Hawthorns are terrible. Soldo.
What's the scenario that people are wanting to go to Soldo from?
I think if you've got a Sheldrick and you've copped like a late Green news and you need to change like a Sheldrick to someone cheap so you can get Green to someone that you like, potentially is like a scenario that some people might be in.
Okay.
Or if you've just, say you had Sheldrick on field or something like that. Soldo, look, there's a world where it works. I feel like we've been, there's been a few instances in the last couple of years where we've sort of looked at Soldo and he's continually let us down. I think Richmond's just as likely to go no ruck than for Soldo to go off for an 80-plus score.
So the one game he played this year, 57% games time, and he popped to 72.
It's not bad.
It's pretty good, actually.
West Coast is, and it was against...
That was against Witsy.
too, actually, I've just seen.
14 hitouts in there.
It's a risky play.
This is the time for it, isn't it? This is the time when you just go balls deep.
Yeah, if you're rank a bit further back and you're just trying to experiment, fuck it, throw something and see if it sticks against the wall.
A guy traded Tim Taranto out 2 weeks ago and he's gone from 4,000 to almost top 100, so...
Sure, trade in Ivan Solid. That's the same thing.
What do we know?
I don't know. I don't like
you put a headset on and people think, oh, they must know their stuff. We're fucking
we're Tigers fans. We know
we're
our
sitting
boys.
in Mitch's fucking spare bedroom under these dodgy ass lights. We got
this is production night here, mate.
We have no idea. No. Don't listen to us in the slightest.
You're ruining our credibility.
Our credibility's already shit.
Thoughts on forwards under 825k excluding keys, and I've seen this question come around a lot, and it is a tough position to be in. I wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of the Richmond boys, Shea Bolton and Dusty Martin.
This week?
As like a 1 to 2 week play.
Who do we have next week? I know we've got West Coast
Hawthorn.
this week. Okay.
Is Shea getting clamped by like a McGuinness the week after? Potentially.
Yeah, it could well. But
Taranto, do they go to?
Yeah, and we bump up the tag thing, don't we? The tag narrative.
Yeah.
Risky, loose, swing for the fences, like Calvin would say, that kind of play.
I don't mind a Shea.
Then,
I reckon he kicks a couple goals this week, racks it up.
well, last time he played West Coast, I think he had like a 130 and kicked 2 or 3 goals.
He had 137. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
So
kicked 3 goals.
Yeah, look, I don't mind it, but just like if you make that trade, don't come back in the comments and say Mitch and Luke told us to make that trade. It went tits up
it's definitely like a 1 or 2 week play. Like
Yeah.
and it's risky because if we have another round like this and you get stuck with him, I think that's a potential play. Himmelberg's always a safe option with his low price and low break even. They're probably the guys that I'm looking at if you're strapped for that kind of a cash. None of them filled me with a great amount of confidence, but you could at least have a sugar hit with some of those Richmond players. Is at least my thinking. Sheasel's the other option. Like, after seeing what he put up last week, could you go to Sheasel again with no Zeeble? Like, it's risky.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go there, but
Dylan Moore. That's probably all we've got to sort of
Yeah.
pick from.
I almost think I would go to
Shea
Shea
seems like the
before I
best
go to
option
those
of
two,
all
yeah.
those guys. Hey,
And you've got a little bit of a ceiling there, which is good. So,
Yeah,
what
probably
do we got here? What about Sicily, Parrish, or Andy Brayshaw? If you could go to any of those 3, who would you go to?
well, if we look at the Ball Boys, Big Boys, Andy Brayshaw is the highest there. I like Parrish as unique. Sicily's the most likely to be. I suppose Andy Brayshaw. That's a tough one. If price is no object, I'd try and get the instant reward and go to Andrew Brayshaw.
Yeah.
I think he's the safest play out of all of those guys. If you want the unique, then that kind of rules him out. I think Parrish will be more unique than Sicily and probably is less of a flaw. So I might go Parrish.
Yeah, Parrish could be a nice, unique play. Think about where you're ranked. Think about whether you'd like to go unique or whether you'd like to cover the field. And Parrish, if you're unique, and then Sicily's going to be a little bit more highly owned in the next couple of weeks, I would imagine. Best on-field cover for this week out of Windhager, Wardlaw, Johnson, and Hewitt. In that particular case, would be
Can
going.
you loop? Like, surely.
Could potentially live with those. I'd go if it's just pick from
he's got
those
a lot
4.
of green dots, actually. So
I'd
maybe not.
go Wardlaw. So St Kilda take on Gold Coast, Wardlaw North take on Hawthorn. Wardlaw's not going to cop attention. I think I'd probably go Wardlaw. Out of
Wardlaw
those,
versus
Johnson Freo take on Collingwood.
Hawthorn. I'd probably go Johnson out of those guys.
Okay,
So I
Johnson.
think might be a
then
bit
Wardlaw.
wet with no Sarong.
That's
might
true,
get
no
some more
Sarong.
inside time. I'd probably go Johnson if I had to pick one of them. I'd try my best to loop him first, put the emergency on him, and then you can maybe roll him into someone like a Wardlaw who plays later, also the next day. So, but if you had to pick a player, I'd personally go Johnson myself. But it's rookie roulette at the end of the day. So,
Yeah. Let's see.
as I traded Sheldrick, I can only trade one of DC and Green. As DC could be back next week, would you trade Green, but both Green or DC can go to Sicily? This is, I think, a lot of people will be in this boat this week.
Yep.
I think if you can get to the same player you want to with both players, you probably put trading Green first.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I think so.
With the
I think Green has been confirmed that it's like a 2 to 3 week kind of thing. Well, any sort of hamstring awareness is not like have a week off and then come back and let's see how aware you are. You know what I mean?
Well, he said he injured it on Thursday, and then they got scans and it was bad news. So that's not good. I think that's at least a couple rounds.
You don't tempt fate with soft tissue injuries after a week. So that for me is multiple weeks. So I think you're shifting off him.
Yeah, I think he goes if you can get to the same player.
Yeah.
And,
Did he go off in a golf cart? But
that's a good question.
because that changes.
We need sources on that. Because
That
golf
changes
cart injuries, that's another level.
And proof's in the pudding. So
Who do we have in the Content Creators Cup this week? Asks Truly Bales. And
I'll tell you what, Bales, it doesn't matter who I have because I know that 2 of my uniques have already played, and they were Callum Mills and Caleb Daniels. So
not good.
I'm
not
fucked
good.
regardless.
You have Louis from the pod.
Louis going all right, isn't he?
He is going all right. He's had a couple of big weeks.
I've been on a run, but I'm taking the L this week, guys.
And I'm versing Junk Time Janitors. And again, another matchup where the very few uniques at this stage. He actually has Jared Lyons in his team, funnily enough. I mentioned him before.
There you go.
So, yeah, I think we're on identical scores at the moment with the same players, so it should be a close one there. But that's my matchup. Seeing
as Bales mentioned Content Creators Cup, we'll quickly give Infinite Wealth a shout out so most of you guys will be aware.
You started doing the course, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, I have. I've finally got my act together. I've got a bit of time off with the bub now, so I've got my act together and I'm getting stuck in. But yeah, Infinite Wealth, Guesties company is sponsoring the Content Creators Cup, and there's a bit of money for charity as the end goal. And you can also get involved by heading over to infinitewealth.com.au/AFL fantasy if you're keen to make the most of the free program that he's putting out there for fantasy fanatics. And like I said, I've just started and already learned some fantastic things. So jump over there and support him because he's supporting charity through this as well. So
big bucks of charity in the season, So
really cool initiative that he's got going there. So.
I want to touch on this next question here by Brendan. Thoughts on Mills? Brought him in this week. Should I just trade him out next week? So based on what you saw last week, what did you think of Mills' performance?
This is one that had there not been carnage this week, and I saw what Mills did last night, I'd be really seriously considering what I might be able to do with Mills because I've now seen it sort of 3-4 weeks in a row. And look, we were never under any illusions that Mills was going to come out and be the guy that he was last year. So don't get us wrong with that.
There was a little bit of hope that it could happen, but we weren't expecting it.
So I was expecting, okay, let's say Mills comes out and he's a 95 guy. From the price that we got him at a couple of weeks ago, that was still value for us. Now, given what we've seen this week with just the carnage and the fact that people are probably going to have to move and make trades that they didn't want to, that for me probably means that Mills at least, I can't handle these beers. Mills buys himself at least one more, if not 2 more weeks in my side. I think that'll be the case for most people.
I think it just does cement to me that he's going to be a guy that we're going to want to trade up at some point. Look, he still had the role. He just went missing for large chunks of the game. Like in the third quarter, I think he had like a tackle holding the ball kick and then another kick in like the first 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then didn't score a single point for the rest of that quarter. It was really, really weird. Got stuck on the bench, I think, for a long time at one point as well. So, yeah, just really odd. Not encouraging, for sure. He has Freo next week, which is another positive matchup at Optus Stadium. So, for me, he probably gets another week there, depending on how well set up your team is. But then maybe after that, it's open season in terms of you can probably trade him out if you're at that point where you have the luxury to do so. But
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he'll actually go back in value this week. Which
I don't think he missed his break even. So his break even was 81. He scored a 71. So
I just can't even believe for a guy like Callum Mills. So that's been a little bit disappointing. And to be perfectly honest, the role's kind of been there too.
It has been there.
Like there were patches last night where you could see Big Horse Longmire from the bench,
touches.
get back, and you could see he's heading back. But a lot of the time he was in at the CBAs. So
it was definitely there wasn't those large stints in the back line like there was against Richmond the week before. So we'll answer a few more.
Yeah, let's get through a few more.
A few statements in there.
Yeah. Everyone's using it as a bit of a venting mechanism.
Hey, well, vent away, guys. I don't mind at all, for sure.
mean, yeah, that's what we do. Sheldridge, Cooper Harvey, and $450K to throw on Darcy Cameron's head next week to Sicily, or go a Windhager or Himmelberg with $180K next week.
I'd probably just prioritise getting the... Actually, hold on. Could you loop this in a way? Just have a quick look. You might be able to have Sheldrick. You might be able to loop this and put emergency on Windhager, have a look at his score, and if it's good enough, then go down to Cooper Harvey, because the Saints play at 210 and then the Giants play at 740. So there should be plenty of time to have a look at that. And if he scores less than what you want, you can get in Himmelberg.
What's that movie Is it Rain Man?
Yeah, with
Mitch
the
is like the
numbers
Luke's
fucking
Rain Man.
going.
I pass my team over to Mitch every Thursday and say, can you do this? Can you
figure out the
see any
DVDs
loops?
here.
Like work out what I'm going to do. Someone asked, did we see VC English? Yeah, we both went with the big boys and put the VC on English.
Big boys said VC English, and that's what we did.
We did.
This was not the round that I wanted to go spicy because I do have a lot of confidence in those top 2 guys there.
Yeah. How much of the top 100 do you think had the VC on English? I think either English or
at least 90%.
I think
at least 90% had it.
Yeah, I'd imagine most people had it there.
I know 9 out of 10 of the top 10 players had it on English.
Yep.
With our good friend Matty Mottram, unfortunately not having it on him, but hopefully he can find someone good. But I'd say very popular.
Yep.
Jeff has just said that.
Someone's answered it for us. Apologies, Jeff.
Read the questions.
Apologies. 48 overall. Very impressive from Matt. 48 overall, was planning on gaining ground. Might be a tough week for that.
We'll see how you go, Matt, but there's still plenty of weeks to at least hold your spot there. Is Wanganeen Millera a legit defender
for the rest of the year?
I said before, I don't really know if I feel super confident about it. What are your thoughts on him? Because
I think he's pretty legit, but I also think that there's some big names that will likely outperform him as well. Do you know what I mean?
He's gone 130, 93, 102, 175. Sorry, 75, 118 in his last 6.
So here's the reason I think he's legit. I think the role is safe as houses. They love
Agreed.
him in that role. Yeah.
Yep.
I think that the fact that he's in that role and St Kilda play like a somewhat sort of friendly game style.
Yep.
I think mean that he's legit, but do I think he's going to outperform guys like Doherty or Sicily? No. So if you're trading to him, you're probably expecting to be maybe 10 points under those top guys week to week. And
it's 40K to go to Luke Ryan. I'm going to Luke Ryan if I can.
At least you get a huge ceiling there as well.
Got big ceiling where I don't know if Wanganeen Millera has that. I mean, he had a 130 last week, but he's still a second-year player at the end of the day. And sometimes, unless your name is Nick Dacos, that ceiling isn't quite there. But he probably is going to be about a 95 to 100 averaging player, which is, if it's all you can get to, then I don't mind it, but I'd still probably rather go to Luke Ryan personally.
Bales, thank you for doing God's work in the comments there, helping people out and answering some questions as well. Let's do one more question, and then we'll let people go have a muck around with their teams. We won't feed into that.
COVID news. Well, let me just refresh my Twitter and make sure it's not been actually confirmed. Oh. Actually, spoken.
Are you fucking around?
No, I'm actually not fucking with you this time.
No, you're fucking around.
Aaron Bryans, who's I think, is he a legit reputable
Mate,
source? Spoken to the Crows, who have confirmed the tweets about a COVID outbreak within the club are false. Okay.
What
I didn't read far enough.
This
and have
guy.
been posted under a fake account. I didn't read far enough. I just said, all I saw was spoken to the Crows to confirm the tweets about a COVID outbreak. I just stopped there. I didn't read the next few
I thought you
few
played.
words.
Nah, that's fucked. We got to get off. We're doing more harm than good on here, I reckon.
Oh, that's funny. But yes, okay. Hopefully no more carnage, guys. Prayers out to everyone. Hopefully you have a good round. And hopefully we can all move up.
What? Why are we sending prayers out?
Oh, just, I don't know. I'm half a CC down. I've had too much here. Let's have a good night tonight, guys. Enjoy the traders if you're heading along, and make sure you guys drop a big thumbs up on this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next time. Laters. Bye.